Hi kids, and welcome to Disney Animation Reviews. I'm Josiah Melky, and today we are talking about Disney's 26th animated feature film classic, The Great Mouse Detective. The idea for The Great Mouse Detective was based on the Basil of Baker Street book series by Eve Titus and Paul Gauldin. Disney suggested doing the film in the early 1980s, and they spent pretty much the whole first half of the 80s after Fox and the Hound was done, working on The Black Cauldron and The Great Mouse Detective. During that time, Disney executive Ron Miller actually quit the Disney studio, and Disney got their new management in Michael Eisner, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and Walt Disney's late nephew, Roy Disney. Great Mouse Detective, most animated Disney features have had either 1, 2, or 3 directors on each animated feature film. Great Mouse Detective, I think, broke that record and had 4 directors. One of them was Bernie Mattinson, who also produced the film. He had just come off of directing and producing the short film Mickey's Christmas Carol. There was also Dave Michener, a story artist and animator, making his directing debut on the film. Dave unfortunately passed away earlier this year. It's really sad. But the 2 big directors making their directing debut on the film were John Musker and Ron Clements, who went on to direct some of the big hits of the Disney Renaissance era, Aladdin and The Little Mermaid. The Great Mouse Detective was released to theaters in the summer of 1986. Which was also the same year that Pixar was founded, and the computer animation started coming along with Pixar's first short film, Luxo Jr. And during the 80s, Disney started releasing some of their classic films on home video, with Christmas 1986 being the start of their direct-to-video lineup of Disney's Sing-Along-Songs videos. I used to love watching those and singing along with the songs when I was a kid. I still love them today. After the box office and critical failure of The Black Cauldron, The Great Mouse Detective was a much-needed improvement over The Black Cauldron. Not too big a box office success, but it was successful enough and got better reviews to merit it a success over The Black Cauldron. I've seen The Great Mouse Detective on home video as a kid. It's not one of my personal favorites. Seems to be happening a lot with this era. But it is a much better animated Disney feature film than The Black Cauldron. It's definitely one of the good ones. So here's the story of The Great Mouse Detective and my personal thoughts on the film. So the story begins with Olivia Flaversham and her father, a toy maker. Her father's a toy maker, and so for her birthday, he gives her a mechanical dancing mouse doll, which she finds absolutely adorable. But then a peg-legged bat named Fidget kidnaps the dad, and so Olivia sets out to find Basil, the Great Mouse Detective of Baker Street, to help find and rescue her father. She eventually comes across Dr. Dawson, who's recently returned from military service for the Queen in Afghanistan. He's returned to London for Queen Moustoria's Diamond Jubilee, her 60th year as ruler of the kingdom. Dr. Dawson finds Olivia, and then together they find Basil, the Great Mouse Detective of Baker Street, who lives right under the feet of Sherlock Holmes, the world's greatest living human detective, and models his career and mannerisms after Sherlock. In many ways, the Basil of Baker Street book series, while being its own thing, is basically a mouse version of the Sherlock Holmes stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. They even used archival recordings of the late Basil Rathbone as Sherlock himself for a quick scene with Sherlock and Watson in silhouette form. Basil teams up with Olivia and Dawson to find Olivia's father, when he realizes that Fidget, the bat that kidnapped Olivia's dad, works for his arch-nemesis, Professor Ratigan, who Basil is determined to catch and imprison. As it turns out, Professor Ratigan kidnapped Olivia's father to build a robot version of the Mouse Queen, so that he can use it to overthrow the real queen and become ruler of the kingdom. One thing I like about Ratigan is his voice. Vincent Price was a well-known star of horror films at the time, and his Ratigan is fantastic. And something he doesn't typically get to do in his movies, that he did with this one, is he gets to sing. Ratigan has 2 songs, and Vincent Price actually has a really good singing voice. The notable song is Ratigan's The World's Greatest Criminal Mind. Most Disney villain songs are either sung by the villain's henchmen, like the pirate song in Peter Pan, or they're sung about the villain by other characters, like the Cruella de Vil song in 101 Dalmatians. Sure, the Siamese Cats had a son in Lady and the Tramp, but they disappeared after their one scene. But The World's Greatest Criminal Mind is considered the first true Disney villain son because it's actually sung by the villain, and Vincent Price does a wonderful job. The rest of the film follows Olivia, Basil, and Dawson trying to find Olivia's father and take down Ratigan, and Ratigan and Fidget trying to catch the heroes and stop them from ruining Ratigan's plans. The animation on The Great Mouse Detective seems to have improved a little bit following films like The Rescuers and The Black Cauldron. It's not perfect, but it's not terrible. The voice cast is pretty good. You've got Barry Ingham as Basil, Vincent Price as Ratigan, like I said, and the voice of Flaversham, Olivia's dad, is Alan Young, best known for voicing Scrooge McDuck, who he started voicing on Mickey's Christmas Carol. Like I said, this is the first animated Disney feature directed by John Musker and Ron Clements, who had started out at Disney as story guys and animators on Rescuers and Fox and the Hound and Black Cauldron, but this was their first time getting to direct something. And they've gone on to be directors for numerous other animated Disney features. Great Mouse Detective does have a few flaws. For one thing, I kind of wish we had seen a little bit more of some of these characters, like the Mouse Queen and Olivia. I really like Toby, Sherlock's dog, who also accompanies Basil in his cases, but he's kind of underdeveloped. But the animation is pretty good. Ratigan's a great villain, with Vincent Price doing the voice. The storyline overall is pretty good. One notable song with The World's Greatest Criminal Mind, but there's also two others. Another song sung by Ratigan, and there's a song called Let Me Be Good to You, sung by a female mouse at a bar Basil and Dawson go to. The song is written and performed by Melissa Manchester as the female mouse. It's a good song, but just a warning to parents, it does become kind of adult, I guess, because the female mouse sings and dances, and she takes off her clothes on stage. That might be a little too much for little kids. So just be forewarned about that one scene. But bottom line, if you didn't like The Black Cauldron or some of Disney's other films from this era, from the Dark Ages era of Disney feature animation, I think Great Mouse Detective might be a step back from that, and it's one I think you can find something to enjoy about. Great Mouse Detective is celebrating, actually no, it's not celebrating a landmark anniversary this year. It's currently 32 years old, turned 32 last month. But Great Mouse Detective's latest home video release was its Mystery in the Mist Edition DVD release in spring of 2010, and then it was released on Blu-ray the same way in fall of 2012. There was one new bonus feature on the DVD and Blu-ray, the Mystery in the Mist version. It's a game called So You Think You Can Sleuth, which is advertised as a game, but it's actually a featurette on the history of detectives, real-life detectives, with the game saved for the end. There's a short behind-the-scenes look at the making of the film, and there's a sing-along version of The World's Greatest Criminal Mind, plucked from the Beauty and the Beast sing-along tape. The only bonus features we lose from the original 2002 DVD release are a scrapbook, which is a gallery of behind-the-scenes artwork and whatnot from the movie, and a couple of classic animated Disney shorts starring Mickey and friends. So that's my thoughts on The Great Mouse Detective. It's not perfect, but it's not a total letdown either. It's definitely a breath of fresh air after what happened with The Black Cauldron. It was a critical success, it was a box office success. Not a big success, but a success nonetheless. The animation is pretty good. The World's Greatest Criminal Mind song is great. Storyline overall is pretty good, and the characters are okay. I just wish some of them were more developed. Vincent Price definitely steals the show as Ratigan. So, other than the other developed characters, and that one adult scene with the female mouse, and her stuff when she takes off her clothes during her performance, and acts kinda, pardon my naughty language, sexy with Dr. Dawson and the other bar mice. Other than those parts, I think Great Mouse Detective is worth a viewing every couple years or so. Well, we're out of time for today. Remember, when you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. Bye!